Going live, going live. We are going live.
Can you see?
Can I see what?
Start talking, man.
I mean, I was waiting for you to get back in your spot. Am I just saying, what's up, internet world? We're back. I guess, maybe. We're doing something here. It took us a minute to figure some stuff out and get back to our Friday streaming schedule for Press Play. I am Michael. Leroy is somewhere.
Ha!
I mean, I guess. That's great.
Ha! What's up, y'all?
Did you see chat?
Yeah, I got it on my phone.
Okay, cool, because I don't see anything. Yeah, man, we're back. It's nice to be back. We are doing social distancing. I am in a different part of the building.
We got caught. Basically.
Yeah,
Basically,
we got caught.
basically, we were doing stuff together, and one of our bosses started watching our videos.
Our boss's boss.
Yeah. We didn't know any of them watched this stuff, to be honest with you. Because
to be completely honest, I am totally flattered that Rich watches our stuff.
that's our general manager.
Yeah, that's our general. It's nice that he watches our stuff.
Because I've said some wild stuff on here.
It is surprising that he watches our stuff, but that's cool. That means we got people in our corner. So yeah, we got caught. We were not properly social distancing. So
At
we're
all.
properly social. Yeah, now we are properly social distancing. He is downstairs. I'm upstairs in the newsroom. So yeah, here we are.
We would have started at 9, but I had a emergency to take care of with so that pushed us back. And then I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since we've done this, so I forgot how to set all of this stuff up.
Right.
What are you taking a picture of?
I'm taking a picture of this so I can put it on Twitter to let people know. Yeah, we're not professional, but we did do a press play.
Oh.
So come watch if you want.
So we almost weren't going to get this done. And it's kind of my fault because right when I was coming down here, I got a phone call about my paternity leave that I took, that they were like, yo, your paternity leave got canceled. I'm like, well, I already took it. So I already got the money. And then they were like, well, we'll take the money back. And I was like, no, hold on. What I need to send you. So I was mad. So I'm on the phone. So I got it straightened out. So we're back. Normally we start these things off with what got you through the week. Michael, let's start with you. What got you through the week?
So, I mean, are we gonna acknowledge the fact that you had a baby?
I mean, we can.
That's the reason why you talk about paternity leave, but that is the reason why you haven't done this for 5 weeks and change.
We'll get to that eventually.
Okay, well, I say all that to say, while you were gone, I tried to do a couple solo videos.
I watched them.
I did the best I can, man. I'm the straight man. You're the
the wild card.
Yeah, you're the wild card. So me, it's just my videos were just dry and to the point. But that's you're back now to put some spice into them. I did do a Hamilton review video.
I saw that. Katie watched it. Well, I didn't watch it. I watched part of it.
Yes. In the Hamilton review video, I talked about the thing that I've been watching now is a bunch of Bollywood movies. Mm-hmm. That's what's been getting me through the week is a bunch of Bollywood movies. And I don't know why it took me so long to realize this. I'm a man that loves musicals. I should have been watching Bollywood years ago. Bollywood has all the action you want from a crazy Marvel movie and the wild nonsense of a Fast and Furious movie with the musical. So, yeah, I've been watching a bunch of Bollywood.
Okay, cool.
What about you?
For me, what got me through the week was, I'll be honest with you, was this. It wasn't like a lot of people are like, it's hard to go back to work. It was hard to go back to work because I didn't want to, because we were in our own little bubble. So I sent myself the gift Monday. So I bought like a little, the Star Wars Black Series action figures.
Yeah, I saw that on your desk.
I bought it, sent it here, so it was like I'd have to come to work to get it.
So trick your brain into coming back.
Yes, I had to trick myself into coming in. But the thing that got through the week was I missed talking, not really work. I'm sorry, boss, if you're watching this. I really don't want to come back to do work because I don't feel like this is work. I really wanted to come back.
We just shooting gas as it was.
I really wanted to come back to this. I wanted to come back to talk to everybody on here. I wanted to come back and talk to you because for 5 weeks, I've just been watching nerd stuff and having no one to talk to because my wife is tired of hearing it. And the baby doesn't understand. Like, the baby doesn't understand we're watching Lego Batman and this is an achievement in cinematic glory. He doesn't understand that.
Have you and the baby watched Into the Spider-Verse yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting to spring that on him. We have watched the Elmo show, but I was watching that before he got here because that Elmo show was just high quality show.
Okay.
And so this is what I was really looking forward to, is doing this, not the other stuff. I really, if I wasn't doing this, I probably wouldn't have come back. So, but this right here is what this was right here is what got me through the week, because I was like, all this stuff, well, I can finally talk to some nerd people about, you know, all the stuff that we enjoy. So that's what got me through the week.
So what are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about today.
All right, let's talk about, since I've been gone, a lot of next gen stuff has been dropping. I know you've been keeping up with it, and I just want to talk with everybody on here about like what's going on next gen. What are we looking forward to? We had the Summer Games event that's been going on. You said for 4 weeks.
Well, it's been going on probably since June. Jeff Keighley, who we know from videogametrailers.com way back in the day, he has his own thing now.
Friend of the show, Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley, come and talk to us, friend of the show.
Bring Kojima.
Before he had the Video Game Awards, what was the Game Show Awards thing that he had before Video Game Awards?
No idea, to be honest with you.
He had something, and it was everything stereotypical you would think of video games. It wasn't great, but he has molded it into the Video Game Awards, and now the Video Game Awards presentation at the end of the year, I think, is very well done. It's getting better and better every year. So that was his big thing, and then since E3 went away, he kind of announced Summer Games Fest, which has been a month-long celebration of games with different type of Let's Play interviews and developer interviews, first-look exclusives about different things. And everybody has every company has had their own little version of it. Like, yeah, this is part of Let's Play, or it's our own press conference, all that stuff. So we've been inundated with, like, instead of a massive E3, we've had a bunch of mini E3s, I feel like, for months now.
And next week is
Xbox.
Microsoft is going to be showing off a multitude of games, actual gameplay.
And it's the big thing is, I think it's on the 23rd, but the big thing about it is they are showing first-party studio stuff. Because when they did that thing in May, it was a bunch of third-party stuff, and that sucked. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to say that sucked. That was garbage.
Because I remember when it happened, and I don't remember if I was here when it dropped. Because the way time works now, it seems like years ago. Yeah. You like you just said, you said it sucked. You were not happy with this. What was it about it that made you say this sucked? Because then, right after that, or I would say a little bit after that, PlayStation dropped and their first party titles, and everybody was like, ooh, ah.
I think the thing that got me about that was before the May event with the third-party stuff, right? Microsoft had kind of been taking the mind's eye of next-gen stuff because Sony wasn't really talking. Every few weeks, Microsoft was dropping something like, oh, they showed off the console first. They showed off their controller first. They talked about the details. It is technically like the most powerful next-gen system compared to PlayStation 5. It has the highest raw specs in terms of teraflops and all that stuff, and everybody was getting excited. And we thought, or at least I thought, we were going to get more actual videos or demonstrations of the games that could be played on the system. Everything they showed, nothing really popped to me in that May presentation. The very first game they showed might have been like Infinite Bright or Bright Memory Infinite. I think that's what it's called. That one looked pretty interesting. Other than that,
but it's already out.
A lot of it was kind of right. It's out on PC, and it but it looks cool. Hopefully, it'll get the next gen gloss and the visual upgrades and all that stuff, and it'll be great. But that was really the only thing that stood out to me from that press conference. And then fast forward to, it must have been, was it June? No, it was end of June or so when Sony unveiled their thing. And I feel like they knocked it out of the park in terms of, okay, we got the console. It looks weird, but it looks different. That's for sure.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah, it's different. We got to look at the controller. We got to look at the games. Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah.
That's a heavy hitter coming out, and we would assume it probably comes out day and date with the system. They keep saying holiday 2020. We don't know what that is, but I would assume day and date are within a week or two of the system of it coming out. It's supposed to be like not a full game, but maybe like a standalone expansion, kind of like how Lost Legacy was to the Uncharted games. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for it. Yeah.
One of the things you brought up was the Spider-Man game. We talked about, I know me and you talked about it, but there was a difference in the fact of what Microsoft showed off versus what Sony showed off. And Sony kind of started off a little rocky because the first game they presented was Grand Theft Auto. And it was like, how are you showing off a game that came out years ago, next gen? And I was like, okay, so Rockstar must have bought something, a time in this demonstration to say, hey, you're getting Grand Theft Auto. A lot of people thought it was going to be GTA 6. It then ended up being just, what is it, 5?
It's, 5 is coming to the system as well as GTA Online.
Yes.
And it's just another notch on the belt for Rockstar. Like, we continue to dominate in terms of bringing this game out everywhere. It's sold, they've made billions of dollars off of that one game.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to do so because people love Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah. One of the things I think was interesting was you brought up Miles Morales. And I guess this is where I'm not knocking Microsoft, but this is where Microsoft has to understand first-party titles are a big draw and are a big deal. So you talked about Miles Morales Spider-Man. So for those of you guys who read comic books, we all know Miles Morales came from the Ultimate line. The announcement of that game drove Miles Morales comic book prices on eBay, comic book stores, sky high.
Okay.
So there's a comic that came out. Marvel was doing hip hop covers when they were relaunching a lot of these books. So they would take a character and pair that character with a classic hip hop cover. The Miles Morales was paired with Nas Illmatic. That cover for that comic is selling for an average of $200 when it was a month ago maybe selling for $40 or $50. Uh-huh. His first appearance, is $1,500. But a lot of these books that featured Miles Morales saw an uptick just in what people were willing to spend just because the announcement of him getting his own game, even though it's just pretty much an expansion. So I guess saying that, Sony really kind of hit it out the park with Ratchet and Clank, Miles Morales, whatever Square Enix is bringing out.
The game Project Althea?
Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, that looks cool. I'm trying to think of what else that popped out. Everything they showed, I was interested in. Like, this is interesting.
The cat game?
Huh?
The cat game?
Yeah,
Stray?
Sure, why not? The second Project Zero Dawn or Project Into the
Horizon Zero Dawn for, what is it, Forbidden West?
Something like that. Yeah, that looks great. That's probably not till 20.
Hey, Lloyd!
But yeah, that looks great. I was going to say something. Oh, you put in the chat. You asked what are people looking forward to for the Microsoft thing.
Yeah.
And somebody asked. Oh, CB Hunt asked about he wants to see them get WB games. So Leroy, I don't know if you were following this, but AT&T is trying to, they're hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
So they're trying to sell out different parts of different things that they own. Mm-hmm. One of the things they're talking about selling is WB Interactive, and a couple of game property or game companies have said they want to buy it. Microsoft said they want to buy it. There's been talks that there are talks that Microsoft wants to buy it. There are talks that Rockstar wants to buy it, not Rockstar, Take-Two, who also owns Rockstar, wants to buy it. And there were other talks that maybe EA might want to buy WB Interactive. If Microsoft were able to pull off this, I would say, huge get of getting WB Interactive, that would be great. if they could either like start their conference with or end their conference with that next week, that'd be really great. Sony just announced the past 2 weeks that they have a minority stake in Epic Games now.
I saw that, yeah.
Which is, I think it's cool. That probably means we're really going to see that Unreal Engine 5 working extremely well on the PlayStation system. When they announced the Unreal Engine 5, they showed it on. They said it was running off a real PlayStation 5, and that makes sense. They've probably been in talks with this for a while, so I'm excited for that. And I would love to see WB interact with Microsoft, because that would just be 4 or 5 more studios, that first-party studios that Microsoft would own, and that'd be a huge get.
Do you think they would announce that next week? Or do you think that's something that they would announce and saying, "Hey, we are partnering with, or we own this, so be on the lookout for this"? Is that something that would excite people on the 23rd?
Yeah, the news of them of AT&T trying to sell off WB Interactive, whatever. That's only been surfaced for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So I would imagine that deal is probably still going through, or whoever's buying it is still going through. If Microsoft were to buy them, at this point, whatever those studios are working on would probably still come to all systems, because they wouldn't have had time to develop stuff exclusively for Microsoft. So you would probably see them say something like, "Yeah, we bought WB Interactive. Expect to hear more from them soon." And maybe they'll show you a sizzle reel of all the studios that WB Interactive is, because that is NetherRealm Studios, which does Injustice and Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
That is Rocksteady, which did all the most recent Batman Arkham games. That is WB Montreal, which did Batman Arkham Origins, or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say there is Avalanche Studios, which is different from the other Avalanche Studios that did Mad Max, but this is the Avalanche Studios that did work on the Disney Infinity properties. So, I mean, those are 4 studios right there that are killer. Rocksteady's huge, if you're able to get that. There's a report that Rocksteady is working on a Batman Court of Owls game, which I know is that a good comic line?
That's a big rumor that's been going on for a while. A restart of the Batman games since the Arkham City was the last one. Arkham Knight was the last one. That capped off that series, so a reboot. My question is,
mm-hmm.
would it be an exclusive title?
Oh,
if
no.
if Microsoft were to buy that, would they make them from now on? These games are exclusive, or would they still make that studio would still make games for all platforms?
Well, it's weird, right? Because since the talk of the rumor of WB Interactive being bought, we've seen a lot of articles on like Kotaku and IGN talking about the culture of what it means when Microsoft buys you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people that run their studios have said they pretty much leave us alone and let us do whatever we want, which is pretty cool. And if you look at, for example, Mojang, which makes Minecraft, they continue to make Minecraft for all the systems.
True.
Because Microsoft's they're like, hey, put it on a Sony PlayStation. That's still money for us.
Yeah.
I think it would be on a case-by-case basis.
Or a time release.
Yeah, like maybe you see it first on Xbox and then it comes to other systems. But that would be a huge get if Microsoft could say, oh yeah, the next Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat 12 or Injustice 3 appears on Xbox Series X for 6 months or a year, and then it goes to PlayStation. Because I love Killer Instinct, but we haven't had any new Killer Instinct developments in years since Xbox One had it in 2015, 2016, whenever it was. So Microsoft has not had a killer first-party fighting game in a while. Sony's been paired with Street Fighter for years, and Street Fighter 5 is only on PlayStation and PC, but not on Xbox. So, yeah.
Somebody in the chat brought up, I want to get it right. Halo Infinite. A lot of people are looking forward to that because that's what a lot of rumors are. We will finally see something other than just a cutscene.
I hope this thing does something because I played Halo 1, 2, 3. I played Halo Wars, both of those. Mm-hmm. Played Halo Reach. and ODST. I never played 4 or 5, but what I heard from 5, people didn't like it. They didn't like the story. They didn't like Locke, played by a friend of the show, Mike Coulter. They didn't like the character of Locke. They really just wanted, we don't care about him, get back to Master Chief. So I'm curious to see what this game is, what this slip space engine does, and hopefully they give us like a nice 20, 30-minute chunk of gameplay of that game, and it makes you say, oh, I need to get the Xbox Series X.
Now, one of the rumors were that it was, it's a possible Halo Infinite could be open world. One of the things I know that a lot of people didn't like about 4 or 5 was, if I remember correctly, wasn't Bungie in charge of the Halo games, and then was it 343 Industries took over for 4 and 5? Is that correct? Or is it just 5?
I don't remember when the cutoff happened, but it was originally Bungie Studios. They left. They teamed up with Activision to do Destiny. And then that didn't work out well, as we're hearing now. So now Bungie's now its own studio again. They're still doing Destiny stuff, but they're not under Activision anymore.
And so,
and now 343 is doing all Halo stuff. Yeah.
From people. Now I only played a couple of Halo games. I was never really a big Halo fan. I played 2, ODST, and I think I played parts of Reach. One of the things that I heard about 5 was they didn't like Locke because he didn't have a lot of personality. And if you already have Master Chief who doesn't have a lot of personality, don't at me, Halo fans. I'm just saying he's more of a...
He's stoic.
He's stoic. You can't have somebody else who's very stoic and about business. And the time was split between the two of them, so you couldn't really get a feel for Locke and his new Guardians. And also a lot of the things that were tied into 5. Again, this is what I'm reading and people I talk to. 5 was directly tied into a lot of Halo lore, so it wasn't an easy game to get into and play if you hadn't read the Reach novels. So you got
to read all the backstory stuff.
So it had a lot of the lore, so a lot of people it wasn't really an easy slide into it. Now, granted, I didn't really play it, but I will say the opening scene for Halo 5 was amazing. That when that game starts and the Spartans jump out of the carrier and they just ran roughshod over the Covenant, I thought that was amazing. I still want to play it. I've never been a Halo fan, but everybody who has been telling me Halo Infinite is the one that's going to convert everybody. I want to see it. I want to see what it looks like because this is going to be the most powerful system pretty much ever made. Playing one of the most popular games ever. And it's a Halo game that's timed with a Microsoft release, which I don't think has happened since the original Xbox. Is that true? Or at least the 360 was the last time?
You're not going to catch me lying. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know for sure how that works out. Looking through some of the comments here, people, IMAX is saying, yes, please buy WB Interactive W Games. D. Steezer says, I want a release date and some good launch title footage on the 23rd. I heard they're not going to talk pricing yet, though. It's weird that they're end of July. When is holiday season? Is that October?
I'd say October. Actually, I'd say mid-September because everybody opens up their layaway plans around October. Like the first couple of weeks of October is when you can start, maybe the end of September, when you can start putting stuff on layaway at like a Walmart or even Target. So to me, it's weird that we haven't got pricing from either company. And I think everybody knows that they're kind of playing a game of chicken, right? They don't want to announce the price. I remember in an interview, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, said that his whoever is the CEO of Microsoft, I don't know who that is, but his boss's boss or whatever said they've kind of given him the leeway to play with the price, so they feel like they can be competitive with Sony. And I wonder if in their minds, I feel like both companies probably know what the price is now, right? They're just not telling us. Yeah.
I wonder if if Microsoft is waiting on Sony to give the price, and then they're going to say, oh, we're the same price, but our system is technically more powerful, so you're getting more bang for your buck. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why they're not giving the price yet. It sucks for us just because we need to know how much money we need to be saving to get these systems. But yeah, I could see. I hope we get a release date, July. So I feel like we should get a release date. But to go back to Dish Diesel, if we get a release date, I feel like you got to do a price because that just seems weird to have a release date but no price, right?
The funniest thing is, you mentioned Dish Diesel brought up price and release date. We now have launch pages. So if you go to Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and Amazon, there are launch pages for the PS5. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Amazon's page right now, type in PS5, there's a page that has Sony, that has like the PS5, it has PS4, where you can get you a PS Pro. It talks about the games that are coming out, talks about the digital edition versus the disc edition. I would say I'm with you with the game of chicken thing that they're both playing, but I also think it's a little bit more that they're waiting to see. It's a game of chicken, not just with price, but it's a game of chicken to see if they will actually release these consoles this year. I honestly wonder if that is a possibility.
Oh, you still on that?
Hear me out. The reason why I wonder if that's a possibility is because the way COVID is affecting the markets, the way COVID is affecting business, there's a possibility these consoles could be delayed. And that's another reason why they keep saying holiday 2020. Because we have seen before a game saying that it's coming out Christmas time, right? It's going to be out November, whatever. And that game does what? It gets pushed back. And if they say holiday 2020, they can still release this thing after Christmas and them not take a huge hit because they never confirmed that this console was coming out November. And the reason why I'm cautiously optimistic is because you cautioned me how many times about Cyberpunk. That game is not coming out, not coming out, not coming out, not coming out. And when is that? Like, whenever it comes out, it comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we saw this with, what I'm saying is we saw this with video games. And you're talking about trying to launch an entire next-gen line? We saw a delay for Ghost of Tsushima. We saw a delay for Last of Us Part 2. We saw a delay for Cyberpunk. We saw a delay for Square Enix's or Crystal Dynamics' Avengers game. Mm-hmm. I could see a possible delay. And I'm telling you, if one of these systems got delayed, the system that gets released gets to set their price because they're the only game in town. So I think that's another big part of it. And we've seen reports now that Microsoft is saying there's going to be enough of these. Whereas Sony has said, yeah, we got to ramp up production by 50% so they can meet this holiday demand for these consoles. And again, I hate to bring this up. If we're still inside, these consoles will sell out within minutes.
Yeah.
When that pre-order goes up, it's you know what this reminds me of? When that pre-order goes up, the Nintendo Classic. Remember how everybody was trying to get?
Yeah.
I can see that. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm looking.
I think that one thing that'll slow it down a little bit from the Classic is that they're going to be so ridiculously priced. So that'll drive down some of the demand because you're paying probably $500 as opposed to like $60 for the NES Classic. But yeah, for sure, the demand's going to be wild.
And you got to remember, and somebody brought up a very good point. I want to say our Lauren Thomas. They don't want to be outrageous with the price when folks still aren't back at work. In my opinion, Lauren brings up a good point.
Wait, LT, ain't you sick? Respond to that, LT. You didn't come to work today because you're sick, but now you're tweeting up here in these chat. Let me know. Respond to that.
Don't respond to that. But she brings up a good point. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just being realistic. We have a lot of people unemployed who are not going to who have to worry about whether or not they got to pay rent, whether or not they got to pay hospital bills. We have a lot of people who are trying to figure out what they're going to do. And this holiday season, we're not going to be out shopping if this virus, and we have to take it seriously. So we could be in the midst of a second wave. We could still be in the first wave. These are all, I think, business things that these two companies are looking at and saying, you know what? Holiday 2020 may not be the right thing. Let's push this back. This is not the time to have a mad rush of people trying to buy a $500-$600 system.
Yeah.
And honestly, what could happen is they could say, you know what? We're willing to take a bath on our already out systems. We'll drop the price of an Xbox One X $100. The Pro is dropped $100 around Christmas time as a goodwill, so to speak, because you're still going to have games released on these consoles. That's what I'm looking at it. I'm like, we've seen this before. Games push back. I wouldn't be shocked because this is a whole new world. A system gets pushed back just because we don't know what's going to happen in October, November. Everybody's banking on, sports will be back. And it's like, is it?
I guess the only sport right now that you get on a consistent basis, well, you're getting golf.
NASCAR, and Korean baseball.
and sports entertainment, you're getting wrestling.
Yep, you're getting wrestling.
That's it. Yeah.
Because my man don't care.
He does not.
The man don't care. You getting that in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, I guess after the XFL failed for the second time, he had to get some money in, so yeah.
Yeah, Ty Williams, we brought up that, Sony is currently trying to alleviate those fears by announcing a 50% production increase. I would like to see a console come out. But I'm going to be honest with you, they're looking at these numbers and they're like, if we don't sell enough to make, because companies, I think, Mikey, you've said this before too, they always take a loss on those consoles because they know they're going to sell these games.
Yeah, the profit margins on consoles are generally nothing. For the most part, Nintendo was the main player who was always making profits off of consoles because they use cheaper components, or they streamlined their process so much that their console didn't cost that much to make from the beginning. So they were usually making profits on Nintendo consoles compared to like Sony or Microsoft.
And this is the question that I want to pivot real quick. So we talked about them taking a bath on consoles, and they bank a lot of the money they make on is games. Are you guys ready for a $10 price jump? And what are you willing to pay for a next gen game? Aris Technica right here is talking about.
You say Aris, is it not Ars?
Is it Ars? I always thought it was Aris. I like Aris. Okay, but ARS Technica.
Or Ars Technica?
Ars Technica. It could be. You could be right. Last week, 2K made waves by becoming the first publisher to set a $70 asking price.
Hey, who wrote this article?
It doesn't say. Hughes Johnson. It was at the end. No, wait.
There we go.
The listing images.
Right.
Nope. The listing images by Hughes Johnson. It doesn't say.
Whoever wrote this article, thank you for writing this so we can talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't say in the actual body. It might on the first page. So.
Why you ain't got the first page?
Because the first page was just, are you ready for $70 games? And I don't want to waste a treat. It was just literally like a white sheet. And it said, are you ready for a $70 game? And that was it. I was like, I'm not printing that.
All
right, so here we go. Last week, 2K made waves by becoming the first publisher to set a $70 asking price for a big budget game on the next generation of consoles. NBA 2K21 will cost the now standard $60 on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but 2K will be asked for $10 more for the upcoming Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 version of the game. A $100 Mamba Forever Edition gives players access to current generation and next generation versions in a single bundle. Excuse me. It remains to be seen if other publishers will follow 2K's lead and make $70 a new de facto standard for big budget console game pricing. But while $70 would match the high watermark for nominal game pricing, it wouldn't be historically high asking price in terms of actual value. Thanks to inflation and changes in the game distribution, in fact, the current ceiling for game prices has never been lower. This got stirred up because an executive said asking for $60 for a game that's been in development for 5 years at anywhere from 60 to 100 hours of gameplay time is out. That's just not going to happen anymore. The way he specifically, they were talking about the last Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk 2077. These games are massive.
And with all these games that you talked about, crunch has also been associated with those games as well.
Yep.
Where people are working those long hours and working these extreme hours under a deadline and not necessarily getting compensated for those crunch time hours. So, yeah, I do wonder if a higher price point means less people have to worry about crunch, or at least they're getting compensated for it. That'd be nice. I don't know.
I'm going to go with no. So I'm going to go with no. I think what they're looking at is the higher price is going to justify and make more because they want the. In other words, if they're like, I'm going to spend this amount of time to make this game and make The Last of Us 2, I want more money for this. And that's from a publisher and a studio standpoint, not from an engineer, game designer, creative director. That's not from them. I think that's coming from, because that was an executive who said that. That wasn't somebody on the creative side or somebody who's dealing with crunch on a regular basis. We're talking about, and already, Zaylin Maru says, I won't be paying $70 standard. O'Keefe Robinson said it depends on how much content there is on the games, I think. I'm with you. I would be willing to pay $70 for a known property. But I still remember them asking $60 for Order, what was it, 1887? 1880, whatever that game was. That was basically 4 hours.
4 hours? Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
The prettiest 4 hours ever.
And if you giving me a Witcher, $60 is reasonable. If you're giving me Anthem, $20, you owe me money.
Yeah. And it's weird that we have never gotten to the point where Lauren Thomas, friend of the show, brings up, I'm not buying a digital game for that price. I need the physical copy.
Yeah.
It's weird that we never got to a point where a physical price game, like a physical copy of a game is the same price as a digital copy of the game, even though you're not getting physical content anymore. It's weird that they never gave you, like you would think digital should be cheaper because you're not getting all this stuff, but no, it was all the same price. So, Lauren, I feel you on that. I don't want to pay $70 for a digital game, but I feel like that's probably where we're going.
I feel like that's where we're going, and also to bring up the physical versus digital. I remember, and I was looking in here, so I remember when we would get a physical copy of a game. This is a PS2 game, Ultimate Alliance. You have the disc in here. And I remember, especially with RPGs, you would get a huge booklet inside this game that had like art that would have, and now they're
the story of the game.
Yeah, you'd have so much backstory, so much lore, and now you have to pay for that. That comes in a special edition. If you want the artist rendering of these creatures in the game, you have to pay that extra amount of money. And it's almost like they've been introducing $70 games to us. They've just been doing it in tiers to get you the collected edition, buy the season pass. So are we really ready to pay $70 for a standard game that may not even be finished?
Yeah, I feel like we are going that way. It's going to be telling to see what other publishers do, because like the article said, so far this is only Take-Two doing this. Microsoft there's an article from Microsoft, there's a report that Microsoft has been telling publishers, if you make a PS4 and Xbox One version of a game, you should do a free, or not PS4, but an Xbox One version of the game. The Xbox Series X version should be free.
Yes.
You shouldn't have to pay for that. Microsoft has been pushing that because that's their that's their whole push for this smart delivery system.
However, that smart delivery is timed based on the publisher. Because if you want to do Madden, which I'm be honest with you, Madden is overpriced to begin with. Any sports game is overpriced. it's a time release. You must buy the game within a certain window and then redeem your extra upgrade copy within a certain time, or it's not eligible. Because, watch this, you're not going to be able to buy Madden, whatever number they're on, and then the new one's already out on the next-gen system and think you're getting a free upgrade on the last game. They not about to do that.
Yeah.
Not the way EA plays with money.
Yeah. Somebody else brought up something about VR for Xbox. This was one thing they want to see. And Microsoft has kind of gone on record saying they're holding off on VR. They're not into it. If you want VR, you got to go to Facebook with Oculus or Valve with what is Valve Rift?
Yeah,
or
whatever.
Sony VR. But Facebook or Microsoft said we're good for now on VR.
And that's because Microsoft is spending a lot of their time working on their infrastructure. Somebody brought up Game Pass. They're working on their cloud-based gaming and they're working on Game Pass. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's the one thing I think that if they can perfect that, they have over Sony. Because, go ahead.
Is Damon Estrada in the chat? Because I don't know, I hadn't seen anything about Google Stadia.
Yeah.
But Microsoft just announced that xCloud, which is their streaming service, is going to be a part of the Ultimate Games Pass now. So in addition to playing all those games, you're going to be able to play them on your tablet or your Android device, and eventually soon it should be an iOS device. But all that's going to be in Game Pass, which is crazy. I don't know if you know this. I paid attention to it because I spent my hard-earned money on it. But Google Stadia had one of their Stadia Connects earlier this week. They didn't announce anything. Not really.
No.
This Google Stadia has been a bust for them. It's been a bust. I won't say it's been a bust for me, but it is not. Do I feel bamboozled? I don't know if I feel bamboozled, but I probably could have spent that money better than on Google Stadia.
This is my question. Is it a bust? Is it a bust because enough people didn't sign up for it? Or is it a bust because the infrastructure isn't working to the expectations that they promised? Because something can be a bust because not enough people bought it. Like in the movie industry, Blade Runner 2049 was a bust. It's a great movie, but it's a bust commercially because a lot of people didn't go see it. I love the movie. Yeah. Or is it a bust because enough people checked it out and it wasn't living up to the expectations that they promised?
To me, I feel like the system does do what it's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. It lets you play 4K games up to 60 frames per second if you have all that stuff, the bandwidth for it, with little to no lag on when you're playing it. When I do play it, it works. It runs smoothly. It runs like butter. It does everything it's supposed to do. But I won't say it's too little too late because we're not there yet, but they're the guinea pig, right? They're the first ones to really get into this cloud streaming thing. And they don't have any incredible exclusives that make you say, oh, I got to do this on Google Stadia. All the games they're getting are games that you've already been playing for years. They touted, was it Elder Scrolls Online, which is a great game, fantastic. But that game is so old. We talked about Grand Theft Auto 5 being old.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online, that's even older. That's on every system you want to play it on. So, I mean...
Brian Gamer says, bust, it doesn't work. Brian, give me a little bit more why you say it's a bust, it doesn't work. What specifically are you looking at?
Because for me, it works well for me. I've been able to play stuff with no lag. So, Brian Gamer, let us know why it's a bust for you, why it's not working.
O'Keefe Robinson says, bad marketing, same problem as Mixer. I'm going to be honest with you. When we did the little thing with Andy, our chief engineer, and we talked about it, he was on here with us. One of the things that we talked about was, and something we're seeing now with distance learning or online learning with schools, everybody doesn't have access to high-speed internet. And that's just a fact. We live in South Carolina. If you're not in a metropolitan area, or at least close to someplace that has a Walmart or, an infrastructure, you don't have reliable internet. We're now trying to get the federal government to help local states and municipalities to give them money to beef up and secure their high-speed internet just for these kids to do distance learning. So the infrastructure is not even there for that. So I always was skeptical of Stadia on a notion of Stadia is only for a handful of people in a handful of places. It's a niche market that it was, to me, a test tube, so to speak. Because if you don't live in an area that has a consistent high-speed internet, it's not worth getting.
Looking at other stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Rashawn K is talking about, what about both systems not being able to do 4K at 120 frames per second when they launch? Personally, I am more of a graphics person over a frames. Like, if you give me 30 frames per second, I'm cool with that. I know people want more and more frames for the smoother, smoother control games and all that stuff. But I don't need a game to be 4K 120 frames per second when they launch. That's like a buzz marketing thing. I still don't have a 4K TV yet. So I need to get a 4K TV to really take advantage of all this stuff. I don't know which one I'm going to get. So yeah, that's for me.
Lauren said my internet goes out every day at 5:30. Lauren, you need to move. Lauren, you need to move because you need your internet. How you gonna send your story in?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my big problem with Stadia. But back to the price point. Boundless Book Off said, why 5:30? Because that's probably why when somebody gets home from work, they steal Lauren's internet. I'm leery of this $70 price point only because we have seen we've seen a lot of great games that I'd be willing, hindsight being 2020, I'd be willing to pay $70. However, there's some games I'm like, this ain't worth $70. And I know it's buyer beware. You gotta be plugged in so you don't waste your money. But right now, Borderlands 3, when did that come out?
Earlier this year, I think.
That game is.
I think it was earlier this year.
That game is $15 or $10 right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm in no hurry to play Borderlands 3. I mean, I understand those games. Certain games are for certain people. I have Modern Warfare. I play Modern Warfare for the campaign. I really don't do a lot of online play. My question is, and this is something I threw it to the chat, it's something we can talk about, because we're going to be talking about this over the course of whenever. I think the gaming world needs to get into, before it's forced on them, a la carte pricing. So let's say you don't want to play the campaign in Red Dead Redemption. There should be a tier for you just to buy the online whatever. If you just want to play the campaign, I think that may actually help with I think that'll help with crunch. I think that would help with pricing, because I'd be willing to pay $40 just to play the campaign for Modern Warfare, the last one. You don't need to sell me 100 gigs just so I can play the campaign, because I don't care. Gears of War, I don't need to play Horde or any of the other modes that they keep packaging into these games if I only want the campaign. You see what I'm saying? So when are we going to get to that point where games are going to start being able, you can pick what you want to download and what you want to pay for in a game? When are do you think that's a possibility in the next 10 years?
Ooh, I don't know if we're going to get to a la carte side pricing on games, just because it takes so much work to develop a AAA game now, and I don't even know what that model looks like of them doing. Okay, you guys will just do multiplayer, and I know they have teams that just work on certain stuff, but I don't even know how you sell that to somebody.
I guess my question is that the future of gaming, in the sense of, I don't need 100 gigs for this game because one of the things I think was great about Last of Us 2, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no multiplayer.
There's no multiplayer for Last of Us Part 2. No.
So all you focused on was that game. I'm willing to pay $70 for that because I know I'm going to get an awesome experience. But let's be honest, some of these games, like I bring up Gears or I bring up Battlefield, I think you would make some money if you just released a campaign version of that game for those people, you would make some extra money. And then if you wanted to just have a multiplayer first-person shooter like a Modern Warfare, sell that. That isn't that what?
I think a big issue. Go ahead.
And isn't that what people want anyway? Isn't that what Fortnite is? Apex Legends, and then microtransaction that. And then make people buy if you want to have a campaign. In other words, set up teams and change the way gaming is done, because me paying $100 for all of this content that I'm not going to use when I just want to play this part of the game is where I think Microsoft is going, because I don't have to pay $100 for Halo Infinite to play multiplayer if I just want to play the story and I'm buying Game Pass. I can download it. I'm at work. It downloads. I come home. I play it at my leisure. I delete it off my drive and I move on.
Yeah, but I think another issue you would have with the a la carte model is one of the reasons why they offer you so much in these games is because they're trying to cut down on used game sales.
But you would cut down on used game sales if you offered gamers what they wanted. And I guess another thing is, you trying to cut down on used game sales is going to be bad for you, because we buying games and going back and playing these games is what keeps some of these systems alive. I understand Nintendo doesn't like the fact that there's all these emulators and all this other stuff, but Nintendo, to me, shoots itself in the foot by not releasing those games digitally or upgrading those games for a new generation. That's hence why we keep having a Resident Evil 3, 2, possibly a 4, Final Fantasy 7 remake. Look at all these remakes we keep getting. There's money in that nostalgia market. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, is that a future we should be looking at or investing in? I put it to you guys. This is something I've just been percolating in my head.
Yeah. It might be that time, Leroy.
Yep. So this is good, guys. I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you guys for being here. I know this was real impromptu. We're going to get better at this and be more professional.
We are not professional.
Yeah, this came. Brian Gamer says Xbox Series X. You saw only the part of the game you want to play. You won't have to install the multiplayer if you don't want it. If you, Joe Ellis says, if you use corporate logic, they probably won't do that because they would have to stand more back-end infrastructure to support both versions. Once you install those backwards compatible games in your new PS5, hard drive space is going to get eaten up too. These are great. I just put it out there. I don't know. I'm thinking about the whole idea behind cable and why cable subscription died, because people were like, I don't want to have HGTV when I just want a sports package. I don't want the shopping network. Let me get the channels I want or the shows that I want. Hence why I want to watch TV when I want to watch it. Hence why we got all these streaming channels. And now we're having this streaming war. I just put it out there to you guys. We got to get back, but I want to say thank you. Michael, you tell the people where they can find us, and what you have been working on.
What I've been working on?
We did...
these shows.
No,
what?
I'm saying Old Guard and something else we did.
Oh, we got a trailer reaction I think we need to put up for the Star Wars cartoon. Not Star Wars.
Star Trek.
I'm going to get eaten alive for that. The Star Trek cartoon and Project Power.
Yep.
Project Power. So we got to run through some stuff real quick. We will be back next week is the plan, probably, hopefully around 8:30, 9 o'clock for a longer, more regular run-of-the-mill press play. But I got to go finish this show. Hopefully, Lauren, as I put you on the spot, Lauren, maybe you will be with us next week. I don't know. You're always welcome. But yeah, so shout out to, this is DeAndre McCline, friend of the show, Lauren Thomas, Balance Book Out, IMAX, Ryan Porter, Zayda Maru, John Ellis, Brian Gamer, Oki Robinson, D. Steezel, who else? Sorry, Sean K, Balance Book Out, I think I said that, Brian Gamer, City Hunts, I think that's Joe Ellis, Ty Williams, Damon Estrada, Ryan Porter,
O'Keefe Robinson.
O'Keefe Robinson, if I didn't say the name.
Dondre McCline.
I already said that one, dummy.
So abusive.
I know. It's T. I don't know who that person is. I don't know if you're new, but it's T. Okay, cool.
Did you say John Jay?
I did not say John Jay. Ty Williams.
Brian Gamer.
I said that one. I think that's everybody.
Antoine Allen.
Oh, no, I didn't get that.
Antoine Allen, sorry. Breck Warren, Edward Sanchez Productions. Ryan.
There, oh, yeah, those guys at the top. Yeah.
Ken Harvey, C.B. Hunts.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Guys, I want to say thank you. We got to get out of here. We appreciate it. Missed you guys. We're going to try to do this again next Friday, like Michael said. Stay safe. Find the joy. And we'll be back, hopefully, talking about this Xbox summer game thing.
Yeah. It would happen the day before we do it, so yeah.
All right, guys, we're out. Stay safe.